everybody, EchoV here, and when it comes to any Pokemon game, unless you're doing a challenge, then the most important thing of any playthrough is your team. The team that consists of 6 Pokemon that you catch. Beat the gyms, beat the evil team, beat the league, and everything else in between. And Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are no exception, especially for someone like me. So for this video, I'll be telling you about all the 6 team members of my playthrough of Gen 9. Specifically Scarlet, because that's the one I played. Also, after I tell you all 6, I'll be telling you about some Pokemon that did some decent work. Kinda like Team B players if you will. Anyway, here we go! Starting off the video, get it? We need to first start with the starter, and ever since the starter reveal, I was set on using Fuecoco. And thankfully, my decision was well rewarded because Skeledirge is hands down the best looking Spaldean starter trio final evolution. Now why did I choose Fuecoco? Well, simply put, I like crocodiles. And while Skeledirge did not end up being what I expected, which was a dinosaur like maybe a Baryonyx or the prehistoric crocodile Sarcosuchus, it still pulls it off really well, mixing a crocodile with a singer. If there's one thing I don't like about Skeledirge, it would have to be its flaming hair-like appendage. It just looks way too much like clown hair if you ask me. As for the nicknames, because yes, I do nickname my Pokemon, I nicknamed my Skeledirge Suchus after my one for Sarcosuchus design. So yes, first team member up is Skeledirge. I'm gonna go a bit out of order for the remaining members, because after choosing my starter, one of my main rules that I try to follow is that whatever starter type I picked, then 2 of those members have to be at least the type that I didn't pick. So in this case, it's grass and water. Or at least the 2 Pokemon need to know moves of that type. I'll explain in later case in a while. So first, let's start off with the grass type, and for this one, I chose the new Convergent Evolution, Toedscruel. When it comes to a new Pokemon game, I tried to use a new Pokemon form, like a regional form for example, or something similar. With that said, however, I don't honestly know why I chose Toedscruel in the first place. Because, honestly, I never really did care for the OG Jellyfish Pokemon in the first place. But, I guess the idea of a classic Pokemon getting a new form is what drew me into using one. But I can't really say for sure. Anyway, Toedscruel was pretty decent. It did a job when it needed to, and it was a good member of the team. As for nicknames, I nicknamed my Toedscruel Funguar after the enemy is the same name in the Final Fantasy series. Funguars are mushrooms and Toedscruel is based on a mushroom, so I thought they fit well. Next up is the water type. Or at least that's what I would be saying if the water type Pokemon I want to use was actually in my version of the game. Yes, for some ridiculous reason, the water type Pokemon that I wanted to use, which was the Aqua breed for Paldean Tauros, is a version exclusive, being only found in Violet. And as we established, I chose Scarlet. So that meant that I had to look up what I want to use instead, and what I ended up with was only a water type for a while, because my next member and my semi-water type was Dragalge. Now don't let my ranting mislead you into thinking that I don't like Dragalge and was forced to use it, because that's completely false. And the only reason why I ranted was because it really stings when you plan something in advance only for you to be forced to change it because of something out of your control. I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that feeling. Anyway, back to Dragalge. Like I said, I don't hate Dragalge. Heck, I like it more than its counterpart Glowitzer. First off, it's both a dragon and a poison type, which in my opinion is a really good type combination because it neutralizes Dragon's main weakness, the Fairy. Most of its 2 abilities poison the target no matter what, it's a slight bonus. Also, not only can Dragalge learn Water, Dragon, and Poison moves, it can also learn Thunderbolt, which is great because I also like to get Electric type for the same reason for Grass and Water. For its nickname, I nicknamed my Dragalge after Poison Ivy from DC Comics, whose real name is Pamela Isley. Yes, I know Poison Ivy is more plant-based, but she still does poison people, so, you know, it still works. For the fourth teammate, we have Farigiraf, a Pokemon that I was set on using ever since it was first revealed. As a Pokemon, Girafarig is one of my favorites, and when it comes to naming Pokemon from the second generation, Girafarig is usually one of the first that comes into mind. As for Farigiraf itself, not only does it have a solid design fitting a Girafarig evolution, it also has a great ability, Armor Tail, which negates priority attacks. As for nicknames, I nicknamed my Farigiraf Aziza simply because, well, the whole gimmick of Girafarigs is that they have palindromes for names, then I thought, why not give it a palindrome for a name? So I did, and in my honest opinion, this name fits very well. For my fifth team member, it is yet another Pokemon that makes use of another gimmick, and that is Orsworm, which was one of the Titan Pokemon. Unlike the Totem Pokemon back in the Alola games, Titan Pokemon don't retain their supermassive sizes, which is kind of a shame at first, but at the same time I can kinda understand it. I mean, these Titan Pokemon are bigger than a house. Perhaps what drew me to using Orsworm was the fact that it's a Steel type, which meant it was going to be very defensive against a lot of other types, but also because of the ability Earth Eater, which makes it immune to ground types. A really helpful ability for a Steel type Pokemon. Also, I like its little appendages, they're cute. That's all I'm gonna say. As for nicknames, I nicknamed my Orsworm Bunker. I was originally thinking of something like Alaskan as a reference to SpongeBob, but I thought it was a bit too common of a nickname, so I settled for a different name instead. And for the final member, which was technically the fourth Pokemon I caught, but I didn't use it until later because it was too high level where I caught it, and that is Weavile. But it's not just a regular Weavile. This was one of the many Overworld Terra Pokemon, with Sneasel specifically being assigned the Fighting type, which I wanted to take advantage of, so I caught it, and it knew Brick Break, a really good fighting type move in my opinion. The only downside to using Weavile is that it doesn't get a good physical dark type move until Night Slash at level 60, which is pretty dumb if you ask me. I mean, it is a physical attacker. Shouldn't most of its level up moves be physical? Anyway, as for nicknames, my Weavile's name was Kagura, after the character from Fairy Tail, a series that I recently got back into thanks to both the 100-year quest arc in the manga, as well as rewatching the anime prior to the game's release. And trust me, the name fits. And now that the main team is done, it's now time to move on to the honorary members, which are basically Pokemon that contributed during the main story, but ultimately didn't make the final roster. To quickly summarize them, Feather Breloom, because Breloom's a powerhouse that never seems to fail despite typing, it was very helpful. Monster Garganacl, who I used to be the Titan Dondozo and Tatsugiri, escaped the shiny Dondozo and pilot the Tatsugiri, who I used against Rhyme because I wanted to see both their abilities in action, so I decided to use them, and Tengu the Revabroom, who helped against Atticus and Larry. Actually, there were more Pokemon who contributed during my playthrough, so my main team didn't over-level too much, but these are the ones who contributed the most, so they're the only ones I'm counting. And with all things said and done, these are the final members of my playthrough of Pokémon Scarlet. Not a big surprise, but my final team that I showcased here is far different from the team that I initially decided on. Am I disappointed about it? Yes. Did I still have fun with this new team? Absolutely. Every member of the team gave their fair share of contributions throughout the playthrough, and that's all that matters to me. And of course, I had a lot of fun with this team as well. And that's it for this video. What were your teams for Pokemon Scarlet and or Violet? Share them in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. If it's your birthday today, then happy birthday. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye everyone, be good to each other.